The first semester ended quietly. There was no final applause, no farewell hugs, just a cold wind through the stone corridors and the slow emptiness of a university emptying for winter break. Benoît stood outside the international office, holding a thermos of tea and watching classmates roll their bags toward trains and airports. They spoke of skiing in the Alps, family reunions, and flights back to Spain, Canada, or Cape Town. Benoît had nowhere to go, not yet. That evening, a message landed in his inbox. He opened it slowly. His fingers hovered over the trackpad. Dear Mr. Kalungi, thank you for your patience. We have contacted Wentworth Institute of Technology in Boston, Massachusetts on your behalf and submitted your transfer support documents, including academic transcripts, recommendation letters, and sponsorship verification. Should your admission be approved, please be advised that you will be required to return to your home country, Democratic Republic of Congo, for visa processing through the U.S. Embassy in Kinshasa in accordance with F1 student visa regulations. We understand this may cause logistical strain, but this is standard immigration procedure under current U.S. international study protocols. We will notify you as soon as an official response is received from the university. Warm regards, Red Cross Academic Partnerships Coordinator, London office. Benoît read the message twice. Then a third time. The letter didn't confirm anything. Wentworth had not yet said yes, but if they did, he would need to leave the UK. He would need to return to Congo and apply for an F1 student visa, the official non-immigrant visa for academic studies in the United States. This wasn't just paperwork, it was risk. What if Wentworth said yes, but his visa was denied? What if he left London and couldn't come back? What if the Red Cross withdrew its support in the process? He closed the laptop and sat very still. That night, Benoît couldn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling of his small flat, tracing cracks in the plaster with his eyes like fault lines in a life once mapped with certainty. He had done everything they asked. Attended classes, improved his English, written a clear professional transfer request, continued studying even after failure. But still, the next step felt like a gamble, a single roll of fate between continents. Je suis entre deux mondes. Je suis toujours ici, mais mon esprit est déjà ailleurs. Et pourtant, je n'ai pas encore de pont pour traverser. J'ai peur de partir sans garantie. Mais je suis plus effrayé de rester sans espoir. I am between two worlds. I am still here, but my mind is already elsewhere. And yet I have no bridge to cross. I'm afraid to leave without a guarantee. But I'm more afraid to stay without hope. In the following days, Benoît checked his email constantly. Each buzz on his phone made his heart lurch. He kept replaying the moment he would book the flight to Kinshasa, if it came to that. He imagined standing in line at the U.S. Embassy with his documents. He imagined answering visa questions in English again, only this time, with higher stakes. If he left the UK, he couldn't afford to be denied. The Red Cross could only hold sponsorship for a fixed period. The clock was ticking, and Wentworth's silence was getting louder. In the empty university chapel, Benoît sat on the back pew. The building smelled of wax and old books. He didn't say much, not out loud. Just sat there, still, hands folded, mind full. And then with a whisper, God, if this door is meant to open, let it open before I must leave the one behind me. The days after the Red Cross letter stretched like an unwound clock. January passed without snow. London stayed gray. Benoît stopped refreshing his email every hour. Instead, he buried the worry, not because it had vanished, but because life, like water, had to keep moving. Through a quiet referral from Liz, his English tutor, Benoît found part-time work at the university library. It wasn't much, just 14 hours a week, sorting returns, cataloging journals, and sometimes helping first years find forgotten corners of the stacks. But it was enough to buy fresh soap, a new belt, and send some home to Nadege with a WhatsApp message that simply read, "Don't worry, I'm still walking." The library was a sanctuary. No accents, no judgment, no exam pressure. Just the rustle of pages, the hum of fluorescent lights, and the mechanical rhythm of returned books sliding across the counter. Benoît loved the quiet. Here, he wasn't the student who failed fluid dynamics. He wasn't the foreigner asking professors to repeat themselves. He was just present and useful. In the evenings, after shelving books, he'd make a simple dinner. Lentils, rice, sometimes egg. He had stopped watching YouTube tutorials, stopped checking university rankings. He still believed in his transfer request, but hope had cooled into endurance. Every night he wrote in his notebook, "When I go to Boston," it became a ritual. No one asked him if he had heard back. Not even Liz. Not even the professor who once told him, "You don't have to be fast, you just have to be real." One Friday, after his shift, he walked 3 blocks past campus to a Western Union booth. The teller, a tired man in his 50s with deep lines under his eyes, didn't smile but nodded. "How much today?" £25, Benoît said. It wasn't much, but it was enough to buy soap and salt back home. He pictured Nadege laughing at something small, maybe at the way he sees his message pop on the phone screen. Back in Congo, small meant everything. The weeks wore on. The library became busier. Students rushed in and out. Some left coffee rings on textbooks Benoît would later wipe clean. He learned to recognize people by their shoes. The girl with the red boots, the boy who always hummed, the professor who never said thank you. No one noticed Benoît's tired eyes, or that some nights he skipped dinner to stretch his hours. He didn't complain, because survival was not dramatic. It was quiet, like breath, like faith. Then one evening, near closing time, Benoît was pushing a cart of books when his phone buzzed. He froze. He reached for it slowly, as if rushing might scare the moment away. Subject, admission decision, Wentworth Institute of Technology. He didn't open it, not yet. He stood still between the shelves, one hand on a book labeled Fluid Mechanics, 8th edition, the other holding a future he wasn't sure how to touch. His heart thudded in his chest, not from fear, but from recognition. The bridge he had waited for might finally be real. But before crossing, he needed one last breath in this version of life. The version where silence had taught him how to endure. Like, share, follow for more short stories and life lessons. One tale, one truth, one heart at a time.